Episodes with Brews on a Porch presents to you another edition of Strange Brews, Conspiracies, Murder, Ghost Stories, Aliens. They're all coming to get you, my dears.
The Strange Brew keep on brewing. You keep it strange and we keep it normal-ish. Kind of. But we report on the weird, the unusual. 'Tis the season of all things scary. It's Dudes with Brews on a Porch. My name is Drew. Joined with me is Robert.
Hello.
Hello. Rob, let's dive into the beer before we get into all the nitty-gritty, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm ready for it.
'Tis the season, trick-or-treating just around the corner. So I thought, why not have a delicious, sugary drink of the sour variety? I am drinking the 450 North Brewing Company's Tropic Thunder Butter. Budder. I actually think it's a play on marijuana. I don't know, but, it's, you know what I mean?
Tropic Thunder Butter.
Butter. Budder. It is a...
Oh, because of Bud.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a slushy beer. It's conditioned on strawberry, pineapple, lime, blueberry, orange, and mango. 5.3 ABV, 0 on the IBUs. It definitely looks like kind of like a strawberry smoothie, if you will,
Yeah, it totally does.
It's got
delicious, though.
It's got the sweet smell of candy to it, so lots of sugar. Let's dive in for a taste, shall we, while you talk about your beer that you brought to the table.
I don't have very much information on this beer because I was looking up other things, but it's West Coast Pilsner with Mosaic and Citra hops. It's called Timbo Pils from Highland Park Brewing Company in Los Angeles, California, where I met well, I didn't meet up. I was driven by a friend and hung out with that same friend at that brewery today. My Timbo Pils today is room temperature.
They took inspiration from both German Pilsners and West Coast.
You're just going to cut that off. You're just going to cut it off.
I thought you were done.
My fridge is broken.
Damn.
I got no fridge here.
Damn.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Ansi.
They took inspiration.
You ready? You want to? All right, go.
They took inspiration from both the German Pilsners and West Coast IPAs for Timbo Pils. They used German-influenced hops in the kettle, which gives the beer a softer bitterness and a nice floral and earthy hop base. They then used Mosaic and Citra for dry hopping to bring out the tropical West Coast flavors of mango, Riesling grapes, and passion fruit. 5.8 on the ABVs, 0 on the IBUs.
I'll tell you what, this is just a great beer. I get this every time that they have it at Tony's.
Mm-hmm.
It's smooth up front. It's got a little bit. You get that little taste on the tongue and on the top of your mouth. A little bit of that citrus in the middle, and then it finishes. I don't even know how it finishes, but it finishes great. In first place, how it finishes.
Great. My beer is very tart. It is a sour. It's got the sweetness. You can get like the upfront taste of the lime with more of the strawberry, orange, mango on the back end. It's a tasty treat. It's kind of like melted Starburst put into a beer form. A lot of kids getting Starburst.
Speaking of fruity candies, Skittles has been outlawed in California, from what I hear.
Really?
Yes.
Why?
Something about the dyes.
Oh, okay, like the red dyes.
I think it's something about the dyes. It's not diabetes. I think it's the coloring.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But
speaking of dyes, our strange brew topic has to do a lot with people who have died.
You almost would think that we set that up, but
We
we
didn't.
did not.
And not of the variety of they have an afterlife. They're haunting their relatives, their friends, or they're wandering amok in mist form or orb form or funnel form. We're not talking about ghosts this week. Excuse me. We are talking about people who have passed away, and we're talking about the people who have handled the bodies or haven't handled the bodies in the most professional of manners in the form of a funeral home. I never thought that there would be so many different cases of unusual behaviors at funeral homes, Rob. I didn't think, I thought it was a place of business. It's a place where you're trusting these people to take care of your loved ones in the way that they want it to be taken care of when they pass away. Unfortunately, I've had experience with the funeral homes, with the dad thing, and the people who took care of my pops did a great job. But sometimes these stories now leave you asking twice. So this happened recently. This happened earlier this month. It's been reported on in the last 3 days, and the number keeps climbing. Rob, a Colorado funeral home has found. I'm seeing reports of anywhere of 189 towards now getting up to 200 decaying bodies, in which the funeral home said to the grieving families that they were cremated. And a lot of the families stating they got fake ashes. Return to Nature Funeral Home, which interesting name, right?
Well, yeah, based on that, tell you what, when I die, take me to the we keep bodies in the back funeral home because then maybe I'll get buried where I'm supposed to. Because no one does what they say they're gonna do. There's every business is corrupt. The funeral homes, coroners, there's no exception to the rule that is people do bad things or do the least amount that they can do sometimes. I don't know if these are bad people or just things got on top of them and they um just decided like, hey, well, oh man, we got 10 back there. I'll get to it tomorrow. And then the next day it was 12, and then the next day it was 15, and they just kept on going, the backlog. I don't know. I don't know how this happens. It makes no sense to me.
So we're looking at 189 bodies that have yet to be identified. They've been decaying for quite some time now. The reason that an investigation was prompted was because it smelled so bad. You have 189 decaying bodies. And
Yeah, and we thought Gacy's house smelled bad. That's how he got caught too, was the smell.
was it?
But he only had 26 or something, or 12 or
Well, I
18.
mean,
or,
I think
I don't know. I don't know the numbers, but
I think one's enough to do the trick in most situations. But since this was like kind of a remote funeral home, a lot of people just thought like it was something in the wilderness that was stinky, and then somebody's just like, "Hey, anybody check out that funeral home? Like, not not that far away from here, and maybe take a look at
well,
that."
kudos to that person for like thinking outside the box, where because it is like this is one of those things where um you don't really think twice about what a funeral home like. That's the last thing on your mind
Yeah.
when you're going through one of those places. The last thing on your mind is I should double check their work.
So
I should be like on top of them to make sure that my loved one is the one getting cremated and I'm getting those ashes, or it's my loved one in the casket, or these are people that we trust to take care of us in a major time of need, where that's not where our mind is at. So kudos to somebody to at least go like, hey, maybe check on those guys.
well, a lot of these. I mean, there was a lot of like signs of these families. There's death certificates that say that they were buried through cremation, right? That they were cremated after going away. The owners haven't said anything, but a lot of people or it's believed that the ashes that they received from them was actually just dry concrete mix. So some people poured water into what they had, and it solidified. Which, well, that doesn't happen with human ashes. You know what I mean? Like when you put water in it and you mix it, it doesn't solidify.
I want to know how those people knew that.
I think
It seems like
they had this similar consistency. I don't know.
no, I've seen it. Yeah, that was me being insensitive, which I told you I wasn't gonna do. But that's another thing where it's like, man, could you imagine having to make that decision?
Right.
I'm gonna pour water into possibly my loved one's ashes. Like I don't know what happens if you do that, but it's a drastic step to take. So yeah, if people were doing that, then they must have been like heavily questioning what was happening at this funeral home. Was it a coroner or was it a mortuary?
Funeral home
Mortician?
and crematorium.
Well, I think there's those two things actually.
They
It
offered
actually matters.
So they offered cremations and green burials. So that's like burials without embalming fluids. It helped with the financials of everything. And it also helped with like being like green.
It's environmental.
Environmental.
It's
Yeah,
environmental. I've actually talked to green burial specialists out here.
This place has already had financial troubles, but they essentially, they have these bodies. They're giving people alleged dry cement in the bags, and people are spreading these things, spreading these ashes. Places like a daughter whose mother passed away went all the way to Hawaii. This is in Colorado. Went to Hawaii to spread her mom's ashes, and then ended up just making cinder blocks.
Yeah. I don't.
That was supposed to be a joke.
So is mine. It's gonna fall flat today.
Like the cinder blocks.
Gonna fall flat on this topic.
Damn it. But that really did happen. Minus the cinder blocks. But
I don't think so. I think the cinder blocks happened too. They just didn't check up on it.
Fell on a whale.
Yeah, it's definitely weighing down a dolphin at the bottom of the ocean right now in its stomach. They ate it. Let's go. Let's move on.
Yeah. It's just crazy to me. These people haven't really like said anything. But they're paying for these cremation services. So like fraud is one of them. There's got to be something with like a corpse.
I need to hear what these people have to say. It's one thing to let the bodies pile up. I know that sounds terrible, but it is absolutely like another thing to go, well, we have to give these people something. Don't we have some concrete mix in the back? Can we give them that instead of doing our jobs? And like, was it because they couldn't pay some bill to actually cremate these people? Was it because I just don't understand what it was that they were like why they were unable to just do what they said that they were going to do, and why you even 189 bodies.
Yeah, it's insane.
That makes no sense, and that can't be over the course of a couple weeks. I mean, this has got to be a year's worth of, right?
Yeah, they opened up in like 2017, so it's like, I mean, you can't. Funeral homes, I think most of them stay somewhat busy. But at the same time, like, how long does it take to cremate somebody?
That's the thing. Well, how long does it take for 189 people to die in a community where their mortuary is
right
out in the middle of the sticks?
Well, then like with cremation, when they give you like the bags of ashes, there's a tag on the bag. There's one with the person's name on it, and one that you pull to open it. So a lot of people spread ashes or whatever. These families did not get the name tags, so they can't even like, they don't even know for sure, even if it was ashes, that it was their family. Now that they're like reflecting back on, they're like, I never got verification that this was whoever.
But that's a name tag. That like you can. These people they
But they didn't
stopped
even
at
put it on there.
forging the name tag.
Yeah, they
Like
didn't even put the name tags on
how
there.
lazy are these
I don't
people?
know, man.
Like,
Charge.
oh, we'll just put it down. Put these poor like this poor person, deceased person, put him in the back. Give him some concrete. Should I put a tag on it? That sounds like a lot of work too. The markers all the way across the hall.
Yeah,
Like, what are
it's
these people doing? That's
it's morbid.
it's like that's another sign, I suppose, is why you bring that up, where it's like, oh, they didn't even have a tag on there to tell me that this was the person.
Right. So that led me to I saw this. I don't know. I forget. I just saw it randomly online somewhere, and then I'm like, well, this can't be the only place that this has happened, right? Some unusual thing at a funeral home. It's not.
Oh, it
Um,
is nowhere near. I looked into this too, and I was actually looking for a specific scandal that happened, a large one, and I didn't.
I think it's
There were
this.
too many. There were too many recent ones that have happened throughout the every day. It seems like that it's pushed that big one all the way off the radar.
Well, this one is gonna get a documentary made about it. The information came out last year. There was a funeral home, crematorium, um, that Mesa, Sunset Mesa, also in
Is that
Colorado.
in Arizona? Oh, Colorado. Okay.
It was so they're at a funeral home, Sunset Mesa. They teamed up with a human body part business called Donor Services, literally next door to them, in which they dissected people who passed away and sold their body parts without permission. So
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one that but I thought almost that is this the one where they were like replaced bones with PVC pipe,
I don't know.
and then they actually got caught because they were like they were selling the bones for donors to as donor bones or whatever, but they sold some that had like that were diseased, so people were getting sick, and they traced it back to this particular mortuary or
Well,
coroner or whatever.
so instead of cremating the bodies, the owner of it was Megan Hess, excuse me, Megan Hess. They would, instead of cremating the bodies, she would take heads, spines, arms, and legs, sell them mostly for surgical training or other educational procedures, which some people have those arrangements already. When they're ready to pass away, they can donate their body to science.
Hmm.
Medical students, like cadavers, that's a thing that you can do. These people did not agree to that, and Hess just kind of went on and did it. Yes, she would. She pretty much would. She went to court for this. She described the crimes that she did. Initially called the whole affair a legal travesty, but she defrauded.
A legal travesty. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I thought it was just a travesty of humanity, but no, it's a legal travesty
right.
to people.
She targeted families like through this kind of thing, and then like would essentially sell their organs, their hearts, their kidneys, their tendons for transplants, which is illegal in the United States.
Is
But
that do you think that's like a vigilante, like under like a black market Batman? Like she thought, oh, I'm saving people by taking these organs and
I don't
selling them on the
know.
black market, or was it just monetary? Because this is the thing.
It's
With
monetary. She's
all
making
the
money off this.
Oh yeah, oh I know that, but I'm just like, what what goes through your head? Like we all like kind of take small steps that get us up to these big bad decisions that we make. It's not normally it's not you go from like from being a Catholic angel to robbing a bank. No, you rob like a liquor store first or something. You work your
Yeah,
way up, and all of a sudden you're like, how did my life get here? What do you do that all of a sudden like you look in the mirror and you go, I gotta go saw off some limbs
I
and
don't
heads
know.
today because and it's but this is the thing to me where This is what I was talking about with like more tuitions and coroners. There's different regulations. There's different checkups on these people, but it seems like no matter who you check in on, they're all doing stuff that they're not supposed to be doing. It's not that hard to get into that position. We don't do the checks that we should be for the people that are handling the dead. And when you live in a capitalist society like we do, and everything is monetized, I mean, the idea of selling bodies goes back to like the 1800s when, I mean, that's the Saved by the Bell. No, that's Buried Alive. Sorry, the 1800s. I know, like, sorry, I'm
I thought you were
getting
talking
two
about like
different things mixed
Screech,
up.
Saved by the Bell. I was like, what Zach Morris has to do with it? What is it? What has he ever done?
Well, actually, I mean, it's like partially. I think it's also has to do with that the because there were people that used to tunnel into cemeteries and steal bodies. That's how lucrative the
Hmm.
body snatching business was. This is just new age body snatching, where like in this the one that I'm talking about, like they literally just rebuilt the skeletal system out of stuff you could buy at Home Depot, uh, so that they could sell parts on the black market. Now, there's a lot of reasons why people don't put themselves on the donor list. Some of it is religious, but some of it is health wise too. It's like they can't. They're not allowed to because they have diseases, they have things
Right.
in like they have hereditary things or whatever. And that all adds into that. Like there is a reason why it's a regulated industry.
Well, this lady, she she paid or she charged people about $1,000 for these cremations. Obviously, they didn't occur. So again, she would get ashes from bins mixed with the remains of from different cadavers, and she would also throw concrete mix inside of that. So this is like I guess a pretty common occurrence. It seems like, and then in one transaction, she made $40,000 by extracting and selling the gold teeth by some of the deceased. $40,000.
Is that what got her caught?
This is just like from this was a testimony from a former employee.
Oh, okay. Because I'm just thinking like if I had a relative with a set of gold like that, I would expect it to come back in the baggie.
Well,
Like,
it was I think former workers just kind of like were talking about some questionable practices, and then including dismembering the bodies without the knowledge of consent of the family, without knowledge or consent of the family, and then the FBI raided some sites, and yeah, and then she was indicted. So yeah, she did some wild shit, but she was in partnership with that company, and I don't know if that other company was knew about all this, but I mean, 40 grand just for some teeth.
we shouldn't
Pretty
live in
wild.
a we should in this day and age, knowing what we know about this the like the trade of body snatching, which is an old trade. Whoever is buying these things, like they should be held accountable. There is no, I don't know. It's a highly regulated thing to get body parts, to get
Right.
donor transplant, like to get organs, to get bones, to get things like that. Like you don't just show up and go like, "Hey, this is legal, but let me open up my jacket. I'll show you the hearts I got and the livers I got and all that." Like, no, like and then you go, oh, well, I didn't know where he got him. I thought it was legal. I thought that's how this stuff. No, that's not. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more information on it. I just don't have it at the ready because I was too busy looking at other. My Google search history has got to be strange because
Yeah.
I find like one topic, or I see an article somewhere, and then I go, you know what? I bet you something like this has happened before. So then I Google like, what did I Google? I like funeral home keeping bodies, and then I get all this information on this, and then I'm like, funeral home, like true crime, or funeral home crimes committed, And it's like,
Man, you're so much better at Googling than me because I put in funeral home mishaps. And I got like a America's Funniest Home Video list
whoops.
of whoopsies, body falls out of casket and pallbearers run away. That like that, but there's a lot of a lot that I found that were like they were burying or they were starting to bury bodies or coffins, if you will, and then they'd
Mm-hmm.
re-bring them up and then put them in a cheaper box and then resell the expensive box that
Oh, okay.
like that kind of stuff where it's just like I don't to me yeah, do I see the harm in that? Not really.
Yeah.
But do I see the good in that? Absolutely not. Like this is I don't even know what to say about that. It's like until you probably don't like it's not even on your mind. So the worst thing that you can have happen is you find out that that happened. I did find a video about somebody who like during COVID, his wife had died and they did an online service. Um, and then the funeral home forgot to turn off the camera and the microphones after the service.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, so the video is of them like, like the husband had turned off, but the priest called him and said, "Hey, they're still alive right now." So he tuned back in, and they're making like fat jokes, and they're
Oh, really?
like making sexual jokes and making this and that, not handling the body properly, and it's like
It's morbid.
to me, I go like in every industry you make dumb jokes to get through. Doctors do it. I'm sure morticians have. I mean, it's pretty well established. Morticians have a very dark sense of humor and whatever. That's not called for, ever. But at the same time, the only thing that makes it painful to this guy is that he heard it.
Right.
Like I have an understanding in that the human condition will make people will go down that road just to get through the day, and it's not appropriate. It's not. But none of us are 100% appropriate. What's if you're gonna be inappropriate, better make damn well sure in this industry that the person that like that you're not like the loved ones don't hear or see it. You gotta. I'm not justifying their behavior, but it was just like it's just a sad turn of events where like when you read about this stuff
Mm-hmm.
and there's no reason like why like you've already made your money. That's what this is all about for you if you're a mortician or you run a funeral home. They're paying you for a service and not a little bit of money, might we add.
Right.
Like a funeral is not fucking cheap.
Mm-mm.
But yet that's not enough for you. That's not enough. You need to resell the coffin later. You need to sell the organs. You need to sell the bones. You need like
Yeah.
come on. The
People get tied up in the business. I bet you the doctor and nurse who gave me a vasectomy, I bet you
Oh, they
they
sold that to me
my
actually. I
my
wear it around my
tube.
neck.
No, they probably made jokes about my wiener or
Probably.
lack of wiener.
Yeah, I'm guessing that they did.
But in that situation, like when they're like handling your junk, like what do you think is gonna happen? You know,
Yeah.
it's gonna
Yeah, exactly. Like
it retracts. You
like
know,
all right, can nurse, can I get the extra small scalpel?
it wasn't. Yeah, he didn't say anything like that.
Like I said, we're all inappropriate. We all have that in us. It's
I did. He probably made fun of me because the first time, like when he like gave me the
he made a
numbing,
joke, didn't he? We
there was a
talked about
couple
this.
jokes. There was one where the nurse is like, "Oh, I bet you never thought in your life a stranger would be scrubbing your scrotum," and I was just like, you haven't seen the things I've seen on the internet.
Yeah, you haven't been with me to Vegas.
And then Vikings just missed a field goal. But then like I jumped the first time the doctor gave me the numbing shot.
That's right, you had to get shot twice.
Yeah, twice. And it hurt. The first time it hurt really bad. That's why I jumped. And it's also going like in like the most sensitive part of your body almost. And they probably made a joke about that. They're probably like, I don't think I put a shot in some balls. I
That
think
guy,
I
yeah,
put it
yeah.
in a.
Somebody that jumps, yeah, somebody that jumps that much shouldn't procreate in the first place.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure jokes
Well,
were
and
made. I mean, I've made jokes about my professional career before. Not like what I'm in now, but like in my previous roles, I've made jokes. I made jokes, a private joke about one of my bosses one time, and his wife happened to stumble upon a computer in which the recipient of those messages accidentally left their shit open on the
hmm
computer. Wife read all of it, and it's just like, okay,
that's terrifying to me.
which is
Well,
like,
this actually, I will say this, like, just because this came up, like the other day, I was, me and my roommate Alvaro, I always say his full name wrong, so I call him Al.
mm-hmm,
Because I'm a white guy and we're terrible and that's one of like we joke around about race in this house all the time. I live with a black guy and a Mexican guy and we all joke around about each other's races and it's insensitive and outside of the house it's not how any of us think. We all live together, we all love each other. We love hanging out with each other, but
mm-hmm.
that's part of it. We kind of rib each other. That's what people do. And the other day I was on a tear. I was just tearing into Al.
Don't make
And
me don't make me edit anything. I'm too tired.
No, there's no editing. I'm
Okay.
just saying. So I made like I was he was like, "Oh, so, this is how you think about Mexican people. Our landlord, is Mexican." And I go, "Oh yeah, you mean the guy who lives below me?" And then our landlord called him and he was like, he heard us up here.
Oh
And
no.
it was terrible. It was all fine because we were like he was actually calling about a new roommate that's moving in. But yeah, we just it's a weird thing. Like we go down these roads of dumb things like that. It makes it easier somehow for the people that have to deal with it. Um, in death especially, like we have like my dad's family has owned a more like a funeral home in Munising since like the early 1900s or late 1800s.
Hmm.
The Bowerman Funeral Home. It's still there. It's been there since the founding of that town, I feel like. And they have stories and they make inappropriate jokes. Like don't put that past the funeral people. They do that. But that's different to me than obviously it's different than what these huge scandals are.
Well, I
Um,
got another one, and this one's probably a little more grotesque. Um, then all these three stories all happened. It's all within the last 3 years. There was a Pocatello funeral home. They again smells. The smell is what did it. They found again. This is in Idaho. Multiple decomposing bodies, including 50 human fetuses, discovered on the property. Unrefrigerated bodies rotting in the building, which obviously leads to the odor, which people smell and then call the authorities. They're like, well, what is going on? Yeah, so they pretty much they had a situation with Idaho State University. They donated cadavers, but the relationship ended over concerns of, well, some shitty practices. Some relatives said that being told that a body was donated, but the school didn't have any record of it. Yeah, so like they say they're going to donate them, and then they don't. There was
why this is the I keep getting tripped up on this. Do people work at these places?
I
Or is
can't,
this just a place that they just put bodies and walk away from? Like,
I
because
don't
if
know,
other
man.
people are calling about the smell, like, then it smells.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to work in that if you work there. Like, what
Yeah,
what upside is there to just putting bodies on a shelf somewhere and going, oh, well, I don't know what to do about this.
yeah.
Like like I remember when I first stumbled into because this is not the first time I've looked into this stuff. There's There are documentaries out there about these things. Last week with John Oliver did an episode about these things, and you can search just about anything, any like a funeral home negative connotation, and you're gonna find stuff that it just baffles me that
They they kept some of these bodies upwards of 4.5 years.
okay, I thought I was baffled before.
So that's pretty nasty. I don't know, man. Like some people just aren't meant for the funeral business and the practices. You would think like most funeral homes are also a crematorium, and they have somebody to do that. And I would think, yeah, maybe if you got some 50-some bodies just going to the wayside, you would be like, oh, maybe it's time to cremate these bodies. And again, they told the families that they did, or that they're going to school, and then they just never got sent or
See, but
transported.
here is an interesting thing to me because I found a lot of this, a lot of stories on bodies that were not supposed to be cremated that got cremated.
Sure.
And now that actually leads to some pretty hefty lawsuits.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, this
Now
one
I don't
as well, but
I don't know what the lawsuit garners if you leave a body on a shelf for 4.5 years.
yeah, I don't know.
But I will tell you if there's a family that is Catholic or very religious, and cremation is not a part of their religious structure,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not like they won't be able to be raptured or they won't be able to get into certain places in the afterlife if they're cremated and you cremate that body, you're probably looking at a way have to like I guess in that sense I can go like, all right, the college used to take these bodies, now they don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to, I can't if I like it's like I don't know where like I can't really wrap my head around it because um I don't care what happens to a body after death. It's a body. It's for me, like if it was my body, go leave it in the woods. Go wolves can have it. I really don't care. That's not me anymore. That's just what like that's my belief. But that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that other people don't have their beliefs and I can see where it's like, okay, we can't do this. Refrigerate, call some people. I don't know. There's a million different options besides just like on. I'll get to it tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know, man. I don't know.
it's yeah. And this is I've already done so many things that I didn't want to do on this episode and said so many things that I'm worried about saying out loud in the moment of drinking a beer and talking about
I don't
these
think you
like
said
talking
anything
about death.
too bad. Did you?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'll listen back and I'll lose sleep over it. That's what I do. Do you have any more instances or anything more on this story?
Uh-uh.
Can we end on a high note? Can I bring in some good news? Can I bring in
Yeah, please do.
this is worthy of a strange brew topic
Okay.
because through the first 6 weeks of fantasy I am 0-6. But on week 7, I have won. I won before the Monday night game. I still have 2 players to finish. I dominated in week 7.
Good.
Um, Now was that insensitive to jump to fantasy football after
No, you got to go to to something lighthearted, you know?
um I mean I can't tell you how much more fun it is to win at fantasy football than it is to lose.
You're right. I'm going to lose in one league and then I'm going to win in the other. So, I have a 1% chance of winning and I don't know how. So,
Because it won't like it won't give you the zero because I'm at 99% chance of winning
yeah.
even though I have 30 more points than this guy and he's got no players playing and I have 2 players playing. They still give him 1%. And it's like
The stats aren't going to be adjusted that much. So,
yeah,
yeah,
if you like yeah, it's like 0.00001% chance that both of my guys will lose 15 to 20 points apiece.
right. Well, in my other
Uh
league, I'm 99% favored to win. But
which I'll tell you what, these last 2 guys I got playing, not performing
who was
well at
that?
all.
McCaffrey? Ayuk?
No, I got got Kittle and I got Osborne.
Okay. Yeah, the
Now
49ers
Osborne was a
are losing right now.
Osborne was a last minute pickup because Metcalf they waited until game time to say that he was out
Yep.
yesterday.
Yep.
Now, had they just said that in the morning, because they say he's questionable every week, so I waited until game time. Had they not said that, had they just said he's out today early
Mhm.
before the 10 o'clock game, I would have put in Jay Downs. Jay Downs put up 25 points.
Well, another good news. The Bucks opening game is this Thursday against the 76ers. So now we got two teams to cheer on. Hopefully the Bucks do a little bit better than the Packers. We'll see what
Oh yeah,
what
we haven't
Lillard
talked
can do.
about that. Yeah.
We can see what
How
Lillard.
about that? How about that touchdown pass?
Wow,
That
my
was
arms look big.
they do
Look bigger.
in
you
a good
think?
way though.
Yeah, been working out. They're still noodles.
Ah, they're good. Look at they're the same as mine. Mine are noodles.
No, you got more definition here. You're.
Yeah. Well, let's not do this. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't.
I play. Oh, speaking of sports, I played soccer today.
Oh yeah.
I scraped my knee, so I went
Mm.
for it. So I fell, did a little roll.
I have to get
Me
my.
and my buddy Jack. Playing soccer is that's a heavy term. Me and one other person went to a soccer field and kicked the ball back and forth, and somehow I got grass burns or turf burns on my knee. Uh,
There's a. I have to get my knee looked at by a doctor. There's a chance that I tore my meniscus from running.
you know that was bound to happen. I've been telling you since day one, don't run.
Mm-hmm.
Something bad's gonna
It's a
happen.
bummer because I miss it a lot and I want to run, but my knee hurts when I do that really bad. And sometimes when I just stand too long, it hurts really bad. So I got to get it looked at. And then
No, can they fix that?
surgery.
Yeah, I think it's like a 3 weeks, a 3 week out. If you're a pro football player, but if you're not, it's like 6 months.
Yeah, something like that. Who knows? But yeah, that's the strange brew for this week. I don't have any other strangeness. There's only so much my
I'm just
Google
gonna,
search
yeah,
can
yeah.
handle.
I know. Well, that's the thing. I started with I kind of went down like a naval. I don't know why. Like I was just sitting around today, and I started watching something on naval ships of the historical naval ships.
Mm-hmm.
And I started with a boat, the Victory from 1805. It was a major contributor in a Spanish British collision,
Mm.
in a naval battle, which then led me to look up these. It was going to be converted into what's called a prison hulk,
Mm.
which were prison ship. There were ships that were converted into temporary housing for prisoners when there was nowhere to put them. So they would just cut holes in the side, add bars, and then they'd put a bunch of people in an old ship out on the harbor or in a like kind of on a muddy banks, and they were terrible conditions. Disease ran rampant. People died most times, but like a lot of times before they got to prison. It was no good. So that led me to ghost ships.
Yeah.
So I started looking up ghost ships, which I was looking up. There's specific. There's a ship that is apparently appears every 50 years, um, in the same area that this naval battle happened. That's how it led me to that, which then led me to a Phantom Island. And that so I went down a little bit of a road today, not researching what I was supposed to be researching. Uh,
We
but
can talk about
it's
that next week.
yeah. Yeah,
The
so
final
I
edition
jumped from I jumped from
of this
ghost
year.
ships to funeral home mishaps and the Nazca aliens, which apparently are they're a mashup of actual mummies and reptilian bones, and now that are 1,000 years old to 1,200 years old. That's what actual like credited scientists are saying.
Mm-hmm.
But they were manufactured for some ritual purpose by Incas. They're not alien. They're not they do have like all the telltale signs of what these people, what ufologists, UFOologists,
Sure.
ufologists, are saying they have vascular systems, they have skeletal structures, but apparently they're a chimera of reptiles and human mummies that
Hmm.
were created for some purpose back in 1200 years ago, and they're saying, oh, it was for some ritual thing. To me, I go, how is that not just as far-fetched as aliens?
Right.
Like, you have no reason, like, whenever scientists don't know what something is, like, it was probably for ritual, like it was a ritual thing. They did a ritual thing. It was
Hmm.
weird. We don't really get it, but it was definitely a ritual thing. We can tell by the hieroglyphs on the see here where it's a frog plus a monkey equals question mark. That's a ritual. It's a ritual thing. It's meant, and that's a message meant for us in the future. What are you talking about? Like, to me, I go, neither one of your guys' theories makes sense to me
Hmm.
on these Nazca aliens. Somebody told me they found about 70 of these things. All of a sudden, they're coming out of the woodwork. People are trying to smuggle them out of Peru.
Maybe that's what
I did not.
maybe that's what that Bigfoot was shitting on, just so people would avoid it.
Yeah, I think he swallowed one and took it on Southwest. He had to get it out. It didn't sit well. It's 1,000-year-old jerky.
Yeah,
It's
jerky.
like, but it's like there's a guy at Tony's that was telling me that we were talking about this, and he had all this information. It's like, oh, all right, I'll go look that up because we'll do a little update on the Nazca aliens that we
Right.
talked about last week, and I found very little new stuff on it, but I did find that, they're not dolls like last time. But he was like, oh, people are trying, like, they're all over the place. Apparently there's like 40 or 50 of them, and people are trying to smuggle them out of Peru. I found nothing about that. So if
Hmm.
there's some podcast out there pushing that idea, we are not that podcast. We're coming to you with straight ABC.com news
Or CBS.
or CBS. Yeah,
Sometimes we'll even do Fox News, but not too often. But every once in a
yeah.
while, we'll find something
I
compelling.
get a I get a hoity-toity sometimes. I go with NewYorkTimes.com.
Right.
But you gotta subscribe, so you're only gonna get about a quarter of the story.
um, I drank 450 North Brewing Company's Tropic Thunder Butter. Pretty good, pretty tasty, pretty sweet, pretty tart. Uh, perfect for if you're getting the Halloween candy mood. This is a good one to dive into. It was enjoyable. I liked it. Huh.
I drank the Timbo pills. Like I said, it was warm or room temperature, which here is
Mm-hmm.
warm. Still good. This
Good.
beer does not. This beer is not bad. There is no tartness to it. There's no bitterness to it. Um, it's great up front. It's great on the back end. I will say this at room temperature. It loses a little bit. Loses a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, but still better than an average beer. If you can get anything from Highland Park, but especially if you can get the Timbo Pills and you like Pilsners, get this one because this one's well worth it.
Mm-hmm. Sounds
I,
good.
I wish I had more. I wish I could say more about it, but like I said, I'd be going based on memory, which is not great for me for beer because I drink a lot of different types of beer.
You're a
But
connoisseur
because
these days.
I just go to a place that has them. And by
Yep.
the time I leave, I don't remember what I had even because I don't normally don't even call them by the right name. But because this is at room temperature, it does lose some of the flavor notes. I can tell you that.
Oh, all right.
Drink it crisp and cold.
Crisp and cold, just like. Never mind. See you later.